Tonight on the Cooligans, soccer is here. Soccer is back. We can actually talk about the sport that we love so much.
We're back talking about soccer. And it's not just that, dude. We also got Mo Adams on the show.
Oh, okay. Of Atlanta United? That's pretty nice.
You know how we do, right? We said we're going to bring you stars, baby. We bring you stars. And also, we brought soccer back.
Okay. It was all us, all right? So all this and more today on the
Cooligans! Yeah, baby! Bundesliga!
Yeah! Look at this.
What?
Oh, man.
Can
Crazy.
you believe soccer is actually back?
I cannot.
No.
It's difficult to fathom. Given it's been I think what was the last soccer match? Was it? I think it was like March 13th or 14th. I think that was the last like week. I think in Europe.
What was physically the last one you went to was the CONCACAF match in Jersey, right?
Yeah, the Rebel Arena, the NYCFC against Tigres. NYCFC gave up a late goal to lose 1-0, and it was not the way I wanted soccer to leave me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay, odd way to put it.
Okay, how you gonna hurt me like that, babe?
Yeah. Well, the last one I went to was the CONCACAF match in Costa Rica. And by the way, if you don't know who we are, we're the Cooligans.
It was good, everybody.
We're just too excited about soccer being back. You know what I mean?
We're too happy. My name is Christian Polanco.
That's right. I'm Alexis Guerreros.
All right, we are the Cooligans. We are your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer show and the happiest soccer show because soccer is back.
All right, who's more elated than us? Nobody, besides some German podcast, and you know that ain't funny, okay? Absolutely, dude. This is exciting. And by the way, we're not just the funniest; we're also the gulliest. So, okay, find another one. I dare you to find another one
in Germany.
So you saw that which we call Premier League is like, yo, we're also going to start training. They saw the ratings for Bundesliga, and they're like, by the way, we're gonna. They all of a sudden become right wing. They're like, guys, we got herd immunity. Okay, we need to get out there. So we lose a couple players, right, with the ratings.
Okay, look, they'll probably be on the bench anyway. All right, the strong ones are going to survive.
They run a lot, good lungs. It affects your lungs. Just let them out there.
So, man, yeah, there's a lot to be. It was actually a little bit controversial, right? Because some people were like, Bundesliga is back, but without fans, this isn't even football, and this isn't soccer. What is all this
and
about?
I get it. I get when people like Ellie Mengen put like, this doesn't feel like football. No, it doesn't. But you know what? It's close enough. Okay,
right.
Like, right? Imagine like there was like a huge STD outbreak and no one could have sex, and they're like, well, maybe you can with condoms. I gotta be honest, might be good enough for now. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'll settle for this.
Okay. I think I can deal, for a little bit. We'll figure out as we go along, but for right now, this seems okay.
Exactly. So, it did feel, especially the first match, the majority of the matches kicked off on Saturday, May 16th, at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and the majority of people probably watched the Revier Derby between Schalke and Dortmund, and
I'm sorry, wait, both two teams were there. I really only saw one show up.
Correct. Yeah, it's a fair assessment. But yeah, the majority of people probably watched that game, and being watching a game at Signal Iduna Park and without the yellow wall, it does not feel. It feels like something is actually very seriously missing. It feels like something is wrong.
You know what? I spent most of the day, most Saturday and Sunday, because I watched games both days because I was not saying no to soccer. I spent the whole time going, that's what their seats look like. I spent the whole time. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good angle.
Yeah,
I did a lot of that.
So some of the stadiums they had like different so they had like plush dolls, they had like cards, and like
some of them had in the Korean league. We'll they definitely went dolls. It's just different. Where did they find so many? That's the question I have.
We'll get into that. We have to talk about Germany more, but I do want to talk about that. But the fact that look, the fact that no fans were there was definitely jarring and a bit strange. But honestly, after like the first, like, I don't know, 15 minutes, I was like, yo, this is, yeah, it's still competitive.
It's soccer.
They didn't lose their quality because the fans are not there. Like,
wait, hold on a second. There was some rustiness for sure. There was some wild passes. There was some back heels to nobody. At one point, I think at one point, someone on Schalke passed to the sideline, like the coach on the sideline, because he was wearing a blue shirt. I'm not even making that up. I mean,
look, okay, so I'll say this, because I think when it comes to Bundesliga, that's a normal game. I don't think it's not to trash Bundesliga.
No, I think you're wrong.
No. There was, of course, there was rust, but it wasn't like embarrassing. That's what I'm saying. Look,
there were some moments.
Look, the Cologne Mainz match, that was like rust plus these are teams on at the end, at the bottom of the table. So
yeah, I mean that's what like Norwich versus
Bayern,
Southampton.
Yeah, Bayern look fine. You know,
yeah.
they look.
Bayern was like, no, we got this. Alphonso Davies also looked really good too, which was nice.
Yeah. Always
all the other Americans, like Gio Reyna starting, and everyone's like, we live tweeted the match. Right? I was like, yo, I see Gio Reyna is gonna start, and we're like, yo, is lit. I put like, yo, Americans start drinking, it's our time, right? I put my phone down, I make myself a coffee on the stovetop, 4 minutes total. I take a sip, and I go, and I look at my phone, Gio Reyna out, and I'm like, what the happened in the time in which I was making a coffee? What could he have possibly done?
Yeah, unfortunate, right? Gio Reyna gets injured during warm-ups, warming up a little too hard, a little too excited to be back. You know what I mean?
Damn, it's called a warm-up, not a hot-up.
So, yeah, it sucks because we wanted to see Gio Reyna against Weston McKennie. And
we wanted to see Gio Reyna do anything.
It'd be nice, especially since he was supposed to, this summer, already be. I think already this the international matches for the U.S. were supposed to happen that were going to be in Europe. They were going to be against. Who are they gonna? I forgot who it was again. I think it was like not France or Netherlands and somebody else. So we were gonna see the new blood. Like, we're gonna see Gio Reyna in there, obviously Serginho Dest and everybody. We were gonna see what the future of the U.S. men's national team was gonna look like and all this other stuff. And oh boy! And then people were making jokes. People were making jokes about Gio Reyna being exactly, just like his father.
Oh, Matt Doyle crushed it. He put, all you kids get to see what it was like to be a fan of Claudio Reyna, because apparently he would get injured during really important matches as well. So shouts to, hey, look, apple trees make apples. You know what I mean?
So look, obviously, it really, really amazing for soccer to be back and see professional matches. And we're excited to see more of it. I mean, we were on Twitch calling the game between Eintracht Frankfurt and Mönchengladbach, and we're going to be doing more of that. So
we got Mo Adams coming up.
And we got Mo Adams coming up. So
right now, actually. Well, right after
this. We'll be back with Mo.
All right, baby, we're back. And finally here with our guest. Oh, man.
Correct. Yes.
This is exciting. All right.
Very much so. All right. I mean, we've gone through this whole quarantine this last couple months without anyone representing Atlanta United, which is quite a shame.
Right, which much to the I guess the beguilement of people who leave reviews on our show saying we only talk about Atlanta United or LAFC. Well, maybe y'all team should win a little. All right, stop being bums, and maybe we'll talk about your squad. But this dude, all the way from England, from Nottingham, all right, which I thought was just in books. I don't know that was for real, right? I thought that was just children's stories, but turns out it's real. This dude has done a lot in his career. Right now, he plays for Atlanta United, but in the past, he's played for Boston United. So he started his career right here in the Northeast, right in America, right? Okay. I'm pretty sure it was a different Boston United. Went to Reading, Chicago Fire for a hot minute where he got to hang out with our homie, DJ Step. And now he's playing for Atlanta United. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you're driving, put your hands together for the one, the only, the perfectly faded haircut of man like Mo Adams.
I appreciate it. What an introduction, man. Thank you so much. But, thank you for representing, rocking the England tee. I appreciate it.
I had to do it. I heard you were coming on, and I happened to get one that fits my slightly bigger frame. You know what I mean? Some of y'all Europeans come in some smaller sizes than we do here in America.
Yeah, a little bit tight fit over there.
I'm looking at your haircut, and I'm like, the envy, the jealousy is really, it's not even about, your athletic ability, your physical,
your successes you've had.
Yeah, it's just a fade right there. It's just,
the perks of having a friend that cuts hair,
Yeah,
just sort you out whenever you need.
My wife at one point was like, let me try the fade. I was like, if you come near my hair with that buzzer, it's over.
All right, Mo. So thank you so much for joining us, man. I guess the first question is, I know this is the first time we've had a player since since training began, since those individual workouts began in Major League Soccer. How does it all work? And how excited are you to be back?
And how hard is it to slide tackle 6 feet away from another player?
Yeah, very tough. I'm absolutely excited, very thrilled to kind of get back in the role of things. It's been a while since we've seen our teammates and kind of got involved in the training facility. But no, it's very structured, like you said. The moment we kind of enter the training ground, there's a kind of member of staff who gives us like a designated parking spot, and we have to stay in the car with our masks and our gloves on. And each player has to do that until their name's called, and then you get escorted basically to the front of the training facility. They check your weight, check your temperature, all that stuff. And then they kind of escort you to a part of the field where you kind of remain for the whole session. So like I said, it's not ideal, you're not allowed to pass the ball to your teammate and stuff like that, but we're just trying to get as much as we can in during this time. But more importantly, it's good to see the guys, see the coaching staff too. So it's fun to get out your living room. I think I've had enough of the Zoom calls right now when you're spinning on the bike and doing pickups in your living room, trying not to break anything. So it's good to get out.
So you can't really communicate with your teammates, and you can't pass them the ball. So it's cool that we're using the Zlatan Ibrahimovic rules. Right?
Pretty much.
Okay. Well,
stay in your car until you're ready to train. These are all the Zlatan rules.
Yeah. Every shot taken is from the middle of the field.
Yeah. I don't know if we score as much as him, but yeah, we try.
Now, I mean, it's, by the way, and everyone should know, we're recording this a week early, so things may have changed a week from now when everyone's watching or listening to this. But for the most part, sort of training is reopened, and it just, after a long time of just training in your house, apartment, just in your own flat, if you will, you know what I mean? It's got to be nice. I got you, baby. It's got to be nice just to sort of just even see other players, even if you have to yell like, how you doing? Whatever it is, it must be nice to get to some little bit of familiarity.
No, 100%. Like I said, even though we're not physically in contact with each other, it's good to kind of see someone working out beside you, pushing you, maybe sometimes doing a bit of runs, and you kind of want to keep up with the guy who's kind of leading, whatnot. So no, it's definitely great. It's good to get out of the house, of course, but it's finally the start of, kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel right now, instead of literally just being stuck in the house, being told not to go outside, not to do anything like that. So just to be back on the field, see the guys train, compete even in some way. It's what we all want.
And to talk about Atlanta United a little bit, you are new to the team. What was it like when you found out when you were going to go to Atlanta United? I know when, at least for us, when we obviously started covering the team and started going there, and obviously the fan base is unreal. It's like the fact that it was a new team with that kind of support was surreal. But they really show a lot of love to their players, even if you've been there for 15 minutes or whatever. So what's it been like since you've been in Atlanta United member?
It's been incredible. I kind of knew I was going to get traded during that transfer window. There's been talks of clubs, whatever. But when I found out it was Atlanta United, I was over the moon. I think, that's one place you kind of want to go to, of course. And thankfully for me, I was able to make my debut the following day after I'd signed. And just, I've played in Atlanta before, and it's different when you come in as an opposing player than when you actually play for them. And, of course, it's an intimidating atmosphere, but when you actually play for Atlanta, you got this whole fan base, the whole crowd behind you, and you actually realize how noisy it is. It's like a 12th man, right? It's like you got an advantage. And I remember when I was stepping on the field to make my debut, the whole crowd is just like chanting my name and stuff. I was like, this is wild. This is how you guys do it.
Like, what? Yeah, you already got a song for me? Haven't played yet.
I just got here.
Yeah, but no, it was super dope. I really enjoyed it. And thankfully, of course, we're looking back to get in the swing of things, and hopefully we'll be able to play in front of the crowds, hopefully anytime soon. But no, it's a different atmosphere, man, to anywhere I've played.
How different is it for you to play potentially games in front of closed doors? Normally when that happens in Europe, it's because something bad happened and the team isn't allowed to have fans. The fans get a little rowdy, you know what I mean? But now it's a different situation. Talking about Atlanta, they get 74,000 fans to some of the games, potentially no fans at some of these matches. What's that going to be like for you? Is that something you guys are talking a little bit about, sort of the difference, or you think it's not really going to have an effect on the players?
I think it does have an effect on the players in some way. I think anytime, for us, it's obviously a big advantage for us to play in Atlanta, in front of our crowd. I don't think, any opposition team to happen to come and play us on our home turf. But in terms of the effect it will have on the players, some way, I think sometimes maybe the game doesn't seem as competitive. It may seem like a preseason scrimmage,
Yeah.
But I think we have to understand that, hey, like, this is the reality right now. This is what we have to do. And when the ball gets rolling, it's just back to business, really. I think it's going to affect the crowds, maybe, or the fan base more so than it affect the players, because football, soccer is our job, like, we're just trying to get to do what we do. And after not competing for a while, I think, we'll take it any way it comes.
Yeah, it's interesting because it feels like we've seen matches without crowds, and there must be something that hurts your ego without anyone watching you be the best footballers in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like doing stand-up without an audience. We don't feel like we're actually even doing our job.
The credit, maybe.
It's also weird to hear the players talk to each other. They're like, "Yo, good job. Yo, how's your mother doing?" You're like, "No, we ain't supposed to hear this."
Yeah, or if you get yelled by the coach. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You do hear that as well.
We'll be right back.
Baby, we're back. More with Mo Adams. Now, Mo, you spent quite a bit of time in America. I know you sort of went from Boston United, Reading to Chicago Fire, but you did spend some time at Syracuse. But one of the things when I looked up a little bit about your career, one of the things that stood out, it said that you had made an appearance off the bench for Boston United against, I want to say, Solihull Moors, right? And Adams also featured twice for the under-21s, including an 11-1 win over Newark Town. All right, now, I know this is a different Newark. All right? I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, okay, famous for New Jersey Drive, so, carjacking capital of the world. You beat Newark Town. What is Newark Town like? I just need to know personal reasons. What is it like?
Just to clarify, this was like all these clubs, Boston United and everything, was back in England. So we have a version of everything in the US.
Yeah.
Now
You copied us, right? We were the original, right?
We like to consider like y'all are like Yahoo and we're Google,
So you guys are the update version.
Yeah, y'all were original, right? But we took Newark.
You guys are the high end.
We made Newark into top boy.
It is what it is right now. Yeah. No, I think anytime you play against someone and beat them 11-1, it's a memorable game. It's a very fun one, I think. But in terms of the town itself, not great. I'll be honest. We're just there to get stuff done, and we're
pretty similar then. Yeah,
it was such a bad number, 11-1. I was like, it hurt me, and I ain't even from Newark Town. You know what I mean?
I think it hurts more for them scoring one even.
Newark, New Jersey is the 11-1 of cities, if you know what I mean.
Right. And we're proud of it. There's only two Newark Town. But talk about a little bit about your youth career, sort of coming up a little bit in the youth system in England, and then what was it like to make the transition to America? We've talked a little bit about this with Jack Harrison, who was at the Manchester United Academy and then switched to a high school here in the U.S. What was that switch like? What's the difference in soccer? What adjustments did you have to make?
Adjustments are different, of course. I think there's a misconception in the UK that if you go to university, you're kind of giving up on football, right? So, because in the UK, you can only take one route, the football route or the education side. There's no way of kind of doing both together. So when I first heard of this opportunity to go to the States, because I was close to signing a professional contract with Blackburn Rovers, but due to injury, it got taken away from me. and I heard about, going to the US on a scholarship. And I just thought it was, you're going for education and football was a bonus. Maybe it's not as competitive as someone might think. But after doing a lot of research and seeing guys before me like Jack Harrison and Dom Dwyer and all these guys, and to see what they've carved out, from the opportunity, they kind of opened my eyes. And after doing a lot of research, I figured out I wanted to play in the ACC, which was, one of the most competitive conferences, of course. I played a showcase game, got a lot of offers from universities, and that's when I actually reached out to Kristen. I was like, hey man, like, do you know much about universities in the US? If so, like, where's good to go? Like, and then I committed to Syracuse, and I didn't really know much about the states and how big the country is in itself. Because when you're in England, you're in this small bubble where you can go from top to bottom in the space of like a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Syracuse is called New York's college team. I'm thinking I'm about to walk past the Empire State to go to class.
Yo, what's up, Jay-Z? I'm all up to play soccer, bro.
You dip up the Statue of Liberty, and then you get to class.
Exactly. That's how I thought it was done, right? But when I realized I was 4 hours north of New York City, I was like, damn. And with the code and everything. But, I was fortunate enough to attend a good university, play for a good team, and, do what I had to get to where I am now.
Yeah, you were essentially in our Scotland.
Basically, I was that high up, right?
And we don't understand them,
No. It's the lingo.
What is, as far as college soccer, isn't I don't definitely watch too much of it outside of like the national like championship games, but isn't the schedule really strange and like things are like weirdly compact? Like what's it like just day to day being a college soccer player? Yeah,
it's different because when I was playing in academy, for example, at Derby County, I would go in at like 9 o'clock and I'd be out the door by trainings, let's say like 11. I'll be out the door by 2 o'clock. So it's not an extremely long day, right? But when you go to college, you realize, okay, maybe you have a lecture at 8 a.m. and then you have a bunch of classes that will take you up to 2 o'clock, and then you have to grab food quickly. You have training at 3:30 to 5, and then you have tutoring, and then you have some homework to do. So that part of it was kind of stressful in some way because it's a condensed season. I think it's a 3-month season and then you can play maybe 18 games if you have a really good season, including all the playoffs and the conference games, and if you go to national tournament and stuff. So I think having to balance and have that time management of understanding that you're there to play soccer, but at the same time you are a student and you do have obligations of completing homework on time and all that kind of stuff. Maybe studying for a final. So that was kind of tough for me because all I knew was in England was kick a soccer ball, go home and have some fun,
Yeah, algebra. What's all this?
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Exactly. Like this is my type of thing.
I don't need a diagram of sense. I need to learn how to count my money.
Exactly.
Do the college soccer players get as much respect as some of the other athletes in the other sports? Because I know in England you're a footballer and you're especially when you're at academy. Yeah. I'm sure you get respect on anywhere you go.
No. But then all of a sudden a linebacker shows up who's 6'5", 300 pounds and runs a 4.4, and you're like,
and they just walk by you, right?
Yeah, maybe you don't need to know who I am.
I think that was kind of evident when I was on my visit, and then I was lining up to go to the bars, right? And I see all these like tall ass like football, basketball players dab up the mountain and walk in, and I'm just like, are we supposed to walk in? Or are we just like waiting to like our ID stuff?
You tucking behind the linebacker?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, block for me, dude. Block for me.
That's my fullback. He's good. He can come in.
Nah, but yeah, I mean, of course, Syracuse is a huge, basketball school. They've got, great history and stuff like that. And for us, it was, I think the fact that the soccer team was good and we were consistently going and far in the national tournaments and stuff like that, we kind of got the respect. And for me, thankfully, I was able to win like the school rookie of the year. So that kind of got me some respect. And I managed to get in the basket free. After that.
There you go. Carry that trophy around with you. Be like, What do you mean it's extra for guacamole?
Look at this trophy.
Yeah, what you say now, though?
Put the guac in the trophy. Yeah.
Good. We got more with Mo when we get back after this.
All right, we are back with Mo Adams of Atlanta United. And Mo, you know, you are with Atlanta now, but we should talk. I remember we did meet you very briefly while you were with Chicago Fire. We met you at the draft. I believe the year or two prior. You were shaking hands, kissing babies, the whole thing. You were doing
Exactly.
Babies. Yeah.
But I'm curious about your time with the Chicago Fire. You were drafted by them. Chicago is just like a very interesting club because just obviously what the stuff that was going on off the field and the difficulties of obviously where they were going to play, and obviously they moved to Soldier Field. Being a part of a club like the supporters for Chicago Fire are some of the most deeply passionate people. I know people get frustrated at, like, you know, Bridgeview wasn't always full, but the people in you know, of the supporters for Chicago Fire were just incredibly passionate about the club. So what was
you have to care to go to Bridgeview, right?
Yeah, without that.
You're gonna make that drive, you know.
Yeah.
So being a part of Chicago Fire, even with like some of the drama, what was the experience like with the team?
No, I thought, you know, I loved my time in Chicago. And if you would have told me, you know, when I was in England 2 years from now, when I thought my dream was over in England, that 2 years from then I'll be playing in one of the best cities in the world for Chicago Fire and MLS alongside one of the greats of all time, Bastian Schweinsteiger, I would have told you to do one, you know, like for me, it was, like, you know, being drafted in Chicago and then going in, you know, they took me in with open arms, I think. And they're very passionate about their team, of course. You know, they've got a great tradition and passion. The club was extremely successful in the past, of course. But they stuck by us, you know, I'm not going to lie, we weren't a great team at times. You know, we missed out on the playoffs for consecutive seasons, but they never kind of, you know, looked down on us or kind of gave up hope, I think. And they're extremely loyal. And, you know, I remember when I got traded, the messages and the support that I got from them, and I still do, you know, I still keep in contact with some fans, and I think the club is heading in the right direction. Of course, I think this move to Soldier Field is going to be great. You know, the stadium is pretty much downtown. You know, I think going all the way to Bridgeview was tough, but, you know, the fans still made that trip, you know, in the freezing cold to support us. But, you know, I love that club. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's an amazing city, an amazing time. I spent, you know, a year and a half there that I thoroughly enjoyed, and, you know, I'm excited to see what they do. And I think, you know, they've got a bright future right now, definitely.
When you get drafted and you play for a club like Chicago, who, I mean, we've talked a little bit about some of the struggles with the stands, but the folks that are there are supremely passionate. Chicago is also just a wonderful city. Personally, I think the only other real city in America besides New York, if you think of cities, the way a city is, every other city in America seems to me like it's a collection of towns. But being in a city like Chicago, playing for a team like Chicago Fire, now going to a city like Atlanta with that support, having scored your first ever goal at LAFC or against LAFC, seeing how that club is supported and just how different soccer is in America than what you thought it might have been growing up in England. If someone were to come to you in the same position you were in and say, hey, I don't know if it's working out at this academy, or I'm not sure what's going to happen, or I got injured. Like I see this YouTube channel called Rising Ballers, where like these kids had professional contracts and now they're playing on YouTube. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Come to America. You know what I mean? What would you say to these kids? Is it do you think the route you took is as effective, or do you think it was special because it was you?
No, I don't think it was special because it was me. I do think there's some sort of level of sacrifice and resilience you do have to show. And if you don't show that type of, you know, attitude, that type of, you know, have that driven mentality, you're not going to make it. But you know, I see, you know, I was in an academy with all these guys who are like high prospects. I mean, when I was in Derby County, I played against, you know, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Marcus Rashford, Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, like week in, week out, Dele Alli. So for me, like, it could go one way or it could go a complete opposite way. You know, I had guys in my team who were like playing for the youth national teams, and now they're just kind of working at a grocery store, you know, so it could literally go either way. And for me, it was just a case of I didn't want to take that risk of dropping to like the 6th division of the English tier to have to work my way back up, because it's extremely different over there. Everybody looks at Jamie Vardy and see like what he's done from non-league to the Premier League, but in all honesty, it's kind of a 1 in a million chance for everyone to do that, you know. But one thing that
and he won the Premier League. Even
as an Arsenal fan, could we not bring it up? Okay.
A billion, maybe.
Yeah. No, but like I said, you know, having a chance to have a backup plan in university with a degree, if soccer didn't go the way I wanted to do was having that kind of safety net that allowed you to just put everything in terms of soccer. But eventually, if that doesn't work, you still leave with something. But no, I tell the guys, it's the best decision I've ever made to come to the US, and I thoroughly love it over here. I'm enjoying it completely, and I still I'm still communicating with all these kids. I get like hundreds of DMs from people, saying, "Oh my God, like the US, how does it work? I'm thinking of going, but I don't know if that, if it's right for me and stuff like that." And I make sure I respond to every single one of them, because I know when I was really hurt and I didn't know what to do next, I was reaching out to all these clubs and no one gave a damn, to be honest. No one replied, no one responded. So I understand what it's like to not have answers, So I make sure that I respond to every single kid, every single person who has a question in regards to the route that I took, and just give advice, because it's not going to cost you a thing, but it's going to help people in the long run.
Mo, how do Christian and I get in on this, right? We'll go into third with you. How do we sign these kids and bring them over to America? What do we need to do to start making some of this money?
Okay. See, when Alexis asks this question, it feels a little too much like trafficking human beings. It doesn't really. It sound like he cares about.
Right. We'll get a shipping container. We'll put a couple computer chairs in there. Next thing you know, we got a bunch of squads here.
We got a business, right?
Yeah. We'll put them all up in Newark. You know what I mean? We'll be goody.
It's interesting because at least it is amazing that you take the time to do that, because there's in almost every facet of life, people, younger people need support and understanding of like what they're kind of getting into. As far as when you compare what either youth systems or what just like the growth of the sport or the growth of your ability in compared to England and the US, it's like were there things that were like that you noticed immediately, like, oh man, we do this better in England, whatever that particular thing was, as far as like creating better soccer players?
I think the training for sure. It's I think training in the academy, you have a system that you want to play, and you stick with that system throughout the whole season, regardless of if you're playing United one week or you're playing Chelsea. This is your system, this is your style, this is your identity, and you stick to that. Whereas if it was college, we're playing against a team with a big back four. We're not going to keep playing long ball. We're not training, that week. We're just going to play this type of soccer. So it was very, we didn't have a style necessarily. It was just like, okay, we're planning for this next game. We're planning for this next game. Exactly, just adapt. Whereas in England, the whole training sessions were the same. This pattern of play, this is how we're structured. Regardless if we play against a 4-4-2 diamond or a flat 4-4-2, we're still going to play this way. So I think that's one thing that allowed us, maybe the European players, when we come here, to be able to maybe be technically better or tactically better. But of course, in college, like you said, it's a 3-month season and it's business. You just have to win as soon as possible. It's not, you're not necessarily trying to push players up to the first team from the academy or stuff like that. But one thing in England is that most academies do is however the first team plays, that whole system would run through all the way through the academy.
Okay.
So that was one thing that was different.
Do you think that when you came to America and you started playing, like your first just a sort of impression of the American player, Syracuse being a great college for soccer, those are great players, at least for a certain, within that level, right? What did you think of the level versus some of the kids that you were playing? And be honest, you know what I mean? Talk your talk, right? this is for the Union Jack.
All these other teams are trash.
Syracuse is garbage, my guy. Right, on the phone with your homies, like, yo, come here right now, we run shit. It's free guacamole. What did you honestly think of the American player? Be dead honest.
No, I mean, the demographic and the way, Americans, they seem to be so much bigger, right, than us Europeans. I was playing against people who were like 6'5", and I'm like, that. Like, are you playing like soccer or basketball?
You're in the wrong sport, bro.
Yeah. Exactly. No, but I'll be honest, it's extremely physical because, of course, you come in as a freshman and you're playing against seniors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one thing that I never understood was the substitutions. In college, you can come on, literally come off, sit down for 5 minutes, then you can come back on. So I'm having these kids come on with the last 5 minutes and they're facing like crazy, Whereas in England, it's like 3 subs, if you're off, sit your ass down. So it's
you're like what's in that Gatorade, my guy?
Yeah.
We got more with Mo Adams.
I think you always have to have the mentality there's more to prove. I think the moment you realize or you think to yourself, okay, it's a goal that was achieved in the process of me becoming the best version of myself, right? But I never thought for a moment like, okay, this is worth it now. It's a good thing I came to America, I do think, there's a couple of things I need to do in order to say that. I'm currently finishing off my degree. So once I graduate, I could say, okay, the whole college process was done. It was achieved. But until that's done, I think, I'm still working towards that. But no, I think you just have to stay hungry, stay humble along the way. And there's always more to strive for.
What are you majoring in?
Sport management. So business administration with like a focus on sport. So
see, this is the perfect guy to start bringing these European kids in with.
Exactly. You do the hustling, and I'll just do the talking.
I got 200 DMs of potential clients.
that's like 1,000 each, huh?
Yeah, let's get it, yo. We'll take these kids. We'll show them what fried food should really taste like. We'll show them what pizza should really taste like.
Pizza stuff, right? Yeah.
When you sort of look at some of the players like Jack Harrison who've used MLS as a springboard to get back into Europe. I know you've just started your career here in the U.S., but is that something that you've looked forward to? It seems like you're really happy here in America, as you should be, because we're amazing. Like, what is it? Where's your head at? What are you looking for long term?
No, like I said, I'm thoroughly enjoying my time in the US. I love it out here, of course. But, never say never in football. You never know where your career could potentially take you. And, it's a dream, of course, to play back in Europe. It's something that was so close to achieving, back then. But I wasn't able to do so, unfortunately. But no, it's definitely a goal of mine, and it's something I think nowadays you see more of it. Players from the US going over to Europe, whether it be Alphonso Davies or Tyler Adams or, like you said, Jack Harrison. It kind of just opens the door for us, and it's become more of a trend now, which makes it very realistic for players. If they do well, people are watching you.
Yeah. Is there at the very least, even with that kind of track record for Major League Soccer, when the players do arrive there, like what is I guess if you can take the temperature, like what's MLS look like to Europe? The jokes were always even retirement league. Even when Bastian got there, people were like, oh well, retirement, whatever. Yeah. I'm sure you have to deal with some of these comments,
right.
But it seems
no one said that about Derby County. Derby County.
No one said.
Rooney shows up looking 85 years old. No one says anything.
No, to be honest, after I think Rooney played a huge difference in getting maybe the MLS the coverage and the respect over in England, because a lot of our games were actually televised. So my family would turn Sky Sports on and I'll be playing. So it's getting a lot more exposure over there, and I think the fact that Rooney came to MLS, did his thing, and then went back to England, to Derby County actually. To show you, like, okay, he hasn't dropped in level. Like, he didn't go to the US to kind of just get a paycheck and enjoy life. He kind of it was a stepping stone of him to return here because he did so well in the US. So I think it's definitely getting more respect. The fact that the league is kind of changing from maybe getting some veteran legends to getting like young players, especially like the Atlanta. If you look at it, we have some fantastic young players, like Almiron, who was here, and now Barco and Joseph still young, Pity Martinez and all these players. Like, I think that what the league is transforming into a, buy young, develop, and potentially sell, rather than bring them in to kind of sell tickets.
Yeah. There's clearly a like just that change in culture. You would hope that. I mean, the problem is that we have this inferiority complex with England, and it's always you type the word soccer on the internet and you're bombarded by people can't even
It's called
respect.
football, mate. Yeah,
what is that? Yeah. Honestly, when I went back home and I was talking to my friends and I dropped the word soccer in a couple of times, they're like, "You've changed, man. Like, seriously, what's happened?"
They're like, "We don't know you, mate."
Yeah, like, who are you? Yeah.
I just don't get it.
Yeah.
There's a show called Soccer AM. Why are we the only in England? Like,
I know. That's funny, right? Yeah.
It just
y'all
invented the word.
Literally every Saturday.
Yeah, people know when the crowd isn't yelling. It's football AM, man.
I think it's football. I think we need to come to a conclusion. I think the US and then the UK have to just negotiate it out.
I think it's frankly, I think it's a fear. I think the friction is really just a fear that England is going to be overtaken by the strength of American soccer, and they're going to have to.
It is in some way a threat, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just at least this is like one of the few leagues, the conceit of like Don Garber to be like, we want to be the league of choice in the world. It's like, it sounds ridiculous, but when it comes to actual growth of the sport, like soccer, football is already the standard in England. It's not going to get more popular. There's no more people to get into the game, but the U.S. is a real possibility that more people there's so many people here that watch sports, and it could actually become bigger. There could be more soccer fans in the US, which I think there already are, more soccer fans that support MLS than support the Premier League
in England. Yeah, I mean, it's just we also have just so much more people like in space.
It's a big, I think that the league is growing such a personally for me, I think it's the fastest growing league in the world, and of course the ceiling is extremely high. Whether the MLS reaches that point is yet to be known, right? But of course, I think you look at Atlanta, Seattle, even LAFC, and the crowds and the passion and the style of football these teams play, and the players that they're beginning to attract is amazing, right? Because you look back 10 years ago, I remember I was watching like the Beckham Experiment on TV not too long ago, and the league was completely different. But thanks to him, of course, the trajectory of everything changed, and it got the league the attention it deserved, but not just in a sense of marketing and stuff like that, in a sense of football too. So soccer,
Let's not give all the credit to Beckham, because it also took Americans bringing him here. So really it was us. We got more of you guys after this. We're back, even more with Mo Adams of Atlanta United. Speaking of Atlanta United, you're on the squad now. Talk a little bit about Frank DeBauer's system, because I think it's something that it's a complete change from the system that was there before with Tata Martino. But it seems like the club and some of the players that were there and are still there are really starting to figure it out, right? Towards the end of last season, it seemed like it was becoming a bit more solidified. Talk a little bit about where you think you fit in that system.
Yeah, I think, anytime a coach takes over from someone who had just won the league and the success that they've had, they've got immense pressure over them, right? Especially when you have your own style, you have your own formation, and how you want to, plan things moving forward. People are always going to look at it differently because they think what was done before is already working. But we need to realize it's a different coach, of course. So I do think, the Dutch, they're slightly more structured, more, I don't want to say defensive, but they're more focused on, like, when they don't have possession of the ball, right? How they set up, how they can press, how they can drop, how they can, make slide across and shift and close gaps. So the formation and the style of play that he implemented maybe took a while for players to understand. I mean, I wasn't there when he first took over, so I don't really understand the ins and outs of it, of what was going on during that time. But no, I think like anything, you need time in order to implement what you want to implement and for people to understand. And I think he's shown that, and the players have shown that they were able to understand and, prove that they can have success with this formation and the style that they're playing. I mean, we won the Campeones Cup, the Open Cup. We went to the Eastern Conference Final. So I count it as a successful season, to be honest. But Atlanta, they're Atlanta for a reason. They want to win everything, and that's amazing, of course. But in terms of how I fit in, it's we want to play kind of a two holding midfielders, let's say, and I'll be one of those. A coach prefers maybe like a destroyer or something like that, and that's the kind of the style that I fit. But of course, I've got great players in my position: Emerson Hyman, Eric Remedi, Jeff Lorenowitz, that I've got to compete alongside. But no, I think if I do, opportunities will come, of course, and it's just about taking your chances so you can solidify yourself in that lineup.
Nice. Yeah. And we know that the culture for Atlanta United is one, incredibly diverse, but also very Hispanic and very Latino. I don't remember the exact roster that you were on in Chicago, but I'm sure it was very similar. I know Vlaco also spoke Spanish. How's your Spanish, Mo? That's my main question.
That's where you're coming at, huh? No, it's not.
You're drinking mate now with your Yorkshire pudding.
Mate. You know what? The guys in the locker room, they just sit in like a big circle and they have their mate and they just keep passing it around and enjoy a conversation. It looks fun, but I don't really know what they're talking about. That's the issue. So I can't really join in, But in terms of my Spanish, it's I understand more than I speak. I'll say that.
Okay.
But no, we were actually taking Spanish classes just before the whole virus came out, and there was a lot of guys in that class. Of course, everybody's willing to learn, willing to be able to use that information and be able to communicate with some players, because not all like the Latinos know how to speak English, of course. So we have to adapt a little bit.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
They shouldn't have to either. Okay, you adapt to us. Okay,
we speak the perfect English, but not everyone has to speak the perfect English. Again, looks stupid wearing an England shirt. Saying this.
Exactly. You need to, if you're not going to speak great about it, get that one off.
I'm wearing 3 lions. I almost got murdered. I'm half Uruguayan. I went to the Uruguay versus England match where Luis Suarez scored twice. And on the way in, I didn't know my buddy invited me to an all England bar. And on the way in, I walk in, it's a sea of red and white and blue shirts. And I was like, oh, God. And everyone just looks up at me because I'm wearing a Uruguay kit. And I go, yo, did you know Pete is outside? And my buddy goes, please don't. I go, yeah, they heard 3 lions were going to get slaughtered tonight. People are throwing beer at me. It was insane.
My God. I'm surprised he came out the bar safe, to be honest.
Dude, I took a couple elbows.
Super passionate.
I took a couple elbows during that match for sure. I'm like, where'd that come from?
All right, we'll be back with more Mo Adams right after this. We did it. We did it again. Completed another incredible episode. Thank you,
We're
Mo
so
Adams.
good at this, huh?
Thank you so much.
Oh my God! Clearly, this trio just absolutely crushed it. So thank you, Mo Adams, again for joining us. Mo, is there anything you want to plug or your social media? Anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, of course. It's a tough time for everybody. I just want to tell people to stay safe, practice social distancing, of course. We'll finally see, things turn around for the better. So continue to do that and everything will get back to normal. Shout out to all the health workers, the NHS, of course. We're very thankful for what you guys do and you make our jobs a whole lot easier. So we appreciate that. In terms of social media, Twitter and Instagram _Mo Adams. So give me a follow and check what I do.
All right.
And look out for the Definitely Not Human Trafficking with Mo Adams Incorporated.
Exactly.
And that way your name is on it.
Coming in 2021.
Yes. If you LLC.
Very limited liability corporation.
Okay. So Mo, we always end the show as we normally do. So again, thank you for joining us. So for Mo Adams, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans! Yo, thank you so much for watching that content right now. Right now, we're staying at home. Thank you so much for staying at home. In fact, if you subscribe, you can watch all the other content we have right now that we're doing from our living room here on Living Room FC version of the Cooligans.
Well, what a great opportunity to subscribe and watch more videos of us, the Cooligans, on Football Sports.
That's right. Hit the subscribe button. You're not doing anything else right now. In fact, what you're doing is listening to us. So if you really love us, you'll do 2 small things. 1, hit the subscribe button. And 2, I don't know, maybe give us your credit card number and the last 4 digits of your social. Nothing crazy.
2 small requests.